So hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Andrew and today I'm going to be looking at the return to home feature on the Mini 5 Pro, including the new dynamic home point. Now if you've got the Mini 4 Pro, you can also use the majority of the return to home features apart from the dynamic home point. So there's going to be something in this video for you as well, and I'll show you how to get the best out of the return to home feature when you are using either the Mini 4 Pro or the Mini 5 Pro. So I'm going to walk you through the setup and explain exactly how it works and give you some demos as well, especially of the new dynamic home point. So when you launch the drone's going to send a signal to the controller to mark your home point. And that's the point the drone's going to return to should you trigger a return to home or a failsafe kicks in, like a loss of signal or there's not enough battery power. And that by default is a static home point. It doesn't move, it just stays where you launched the drone from. But that can cause a few problems because if you're like me and you enjoy walking or you're mountain biking, your home point is going to change as and when you are out and about. Now this could be inconvenient because you may be out mountain biking or walking, something happens, you're a quarter of a mile away from where you launched the drone, you do a return to home or a fail-safe kicks in and the drone's going to go back to the original launching point, which means then you've got to come from wherever you are back to collect the drone. Now there are a number of things you can do to mitigate this and I'll go through those with you in a moment. But first of all, I'm going to show you what you've got to do on the controller to set up the return to home features and the different options that you've got. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to go into the settings. So we need to click on the three dots on the top right and we're going to go into safety and we're going to scroll down to where it says auto return to home altitude. Now you want to set this to the minimum of whatever's around you. So if you've got, say, trees around you which are 30 meters, you want to at least set this for 50 meters because depending on what drone you've got and depending on the mode that you use, the drone needs to fly higher than the surrounding area in order to come back to you. So you can see here mine is set to 75 meters. So the next thing I suggest you do is go into the AR settings, which is the augmented reality, and make sure all of those three icons are switched on to blue. Now what this means is that when the drone is doing a return to home, it's going to show you on the controller a green line, and that's the route that the drone is going to take to get back to you. So you can see then if there are any obstacles or anything in the way that's going to hinder the drone's progress coming back to you. So always make sure that's on because that's going to help you greatly during the return to home. Now also in the settings, under the advanced return to home, you've got two options. If you're using the Mini 4 Pro, you're only going to get the preset. If you're using the Mini 5 Pro, you're going to get the preset and the optimal. Now with the preset, the drone is going to go up to that predetermined height, fly directly across and come back to you and land. Whereas the optimal method means that the drone's going to come back more or less along a similar flight path that it took when you flew it away. And again, I'm going to go through that with you later on in the video. One thing to remember when you are changing your location, which is what I'm going to show you in a moment, is that the drone is only going to do the preset one. So even if you've got the Mini 5 Pro, it's not going to do the optimal return if you've actually moved location. It's only going to do that if your location has remained static through the duration of the flight. One more thing you do need to set up when you're doing the return to home, and that's the advanced safety features. So again, we need to go into settings, go into safety, scroll right down to the bottom, and there you can see advanced safety settings. We click on that. Now this is going to tell the drone what to do should it lose signal. So you've got the option of return to home, descend or hover. I always find it safer to do return to home because you don't know where the drone is if you lose signal. It could be over water, it could be over trees, it could be over the building, somewhere dangerous. So always set that to return to home so you know that the drone is going to come back to your location. However, saying that, it could be that you are flying in a different location, like say over water, so you may need to update the home point during the flight, and I'll go through that with you again, as I said in the video. So you can see on the screen now, you've got a number of different icons. The little yellow dot is the home point, and that's going to be wherever the drone's going to come back to. The blue arrow is the drone itself, and the front of the arrow is the direction the drone's pointing in, and below that you're going to have a little blue circle, and that represents me with a controller. So if I just take the drone up and I fly it away, you can see now that it's going off and the blue arrow has moved. Now the front of the arrow is the direction, as I said, of where the drone's pointing. So if I rotate that round, you can see it rotating, it's pointing back to me, and then I can just bring the drone home manually if I wanted to. So now if I was to press the return to home, or the drone went into an emergency mode, like it lost signal or the battery, it's automatically going to fly back directly to where that little yellow dot is, and that's where it's going to land. Okay, this is the point where I stop and say I'm not sponsored, so if you could do the like, subscribe and the notification bell thing, that would be great, and then maybe I can get off a Welsh hillside and go somewhere nice and warm to film. There's also the option to buy me a coffee if you'd like to do that, and any funds I get from that are going to go towards any new drones like the Neo 2, which is due out next month. Thanks very much. Now I've got the drone set up to return to home in the event of a signal failure. So I'm going to initiate a return to home, so the drone should just go up to that optimal height of 75 meters and then come back to me. So I'm going to switch the controller off, which you can see there. So now the controller's off, I can see the drone, it's turning round, it's going up, it's flying back, and it's coming back to where I am. Now the other options you've got are when you actually press the return to home button on the main screen. So if you press that, you can see then you've got a couple of options of land or return to home. But you've also got the option to update the home point. Now depending on which drone you've got, you're going to have an option to update the static home point. And you're going to get three options for this. Now only two are actually shown on the screen. One is being the aircraft, the other is being the controller, but the third one is where you can move the map and select a point on the map for the drone to land as a home point. So I've positioned the drone further down the path, as you can see from the video there. I'm going to go into the map and I'm going to select the return to home icon, and then I'm going to update the home point, and I'm going to set it to aircraft. So you can see now that the yellow circle has moved from my old location to the position of the drone, and I select on OK, and that's reset OK. And you can do it saying home point updated, and look at the map, you can see now that the home point is directly underneath the drone. If anything goes wrong, like there's a signal failure or the battery runs low, or if I press the return to home, that's where the drone's going to go to. So the advantage of using the drone's location is that you could, for example, be out kayaking. So you take off from one side of the bank, fly the drone across to the other side, mark its home location so you know if anything goes wrong, it's going to land safely, then have the drone track you, and then at the end of the flight, press the return to home, and then the drone is going to fly back to that second home point and land safely. It doesn't mean you're going to have to go back to the other side of the bank to recover the drone. Now the other option we've got, as I showed you, is the controller location. And now this came in handy with me a few days ago where I was out flying with my Mini 4 Pro. I'd walked along some cliffs. I needed the drone to come back to me, but I didn't want to walk an extra half a mile back to my start location. So I was able to go into the controller, update the home point to the controller's location, and then the drone just flew back to me where I was. I didn't have to go and retrieve the drone. Now again, I can turn around and I can, it's following me. Yeah, so this is going to follow me. So I'm moving away from my current location. Still see me, I'm not too far away. And again, I'm going to press on the update the home point. And this time I'm going to set the controller, click on OK, go back. And again, you could hear there's updated the home point, and this is where the drone's going to come back to. So if again now, if I press the return to home, the drone's going to come back to me as opposed to being over there on the landing pad.
Landing.
And I'm going to stop it there and land it on the pad because the ground is a bit gravelly at the moment. Okay, so that's the first two that you can do directly with the controller, basing it on the position of the drone or the position of the controller itself. So as I said earlier, you've got 3 ways to update the home point on both drones, and the third one isn't immediately obvious. So for this, you need to go into your return to home point, update the home point, and then you can put your finger on the home point and then move it to wherever you want it to go. So say for example I wanted it to go up on that path there, and then update,
Home point updated.
and then you can see that the home point has been moved from my current location to the new location I selected on the map. Now this third option may be the best, because whereas the other 2 options you need to predetermine exactly where you want the drone to be, either with the controller or the drone's location. With this one, if you are out walking or mountain biking, you could set the end point on the map, and then you know that if the worst happens, like you suffer a signal failure or the battery goes, the drone is going to fly to that location and it's going to land safely, and then you know exactly where it is and you haven't got to go around traipsing trying to find it again. Now if you're using the Mini 5 Pro, you've also got the new option of the dynamic home point. And what this will do is every few seconds it's going to update the home point of the controller, so it's always going to keep a track of where the controller is. So if you are out mountain biking or walking, then the drone knows exactly where it's going to come back to, so you haven't got to worry about presetting it prior to going off. But you need to be aware, if you are using it, say you're kayaking or you're on a boat somewhere, there is a possibility that the drone could always come down and try and land in water, depending on the amount of area you've got for the drone to land. Great if you're on a cruise liner, not so good if you're on a small kayak in the middle of a lake. So now I'm going to go on to the dynamic home point. And what I'll do is I'm going to take my mountain bike around the hills here, have the drone follow me, and then do a screen record so you can see exactly how that works. And then once that's done, then I'll go on to the optimal return to home feature that's also with the new Mini 5 Pro. Okay, I've launched the drones, you can hear. I've switched over to the dynamic home point, and as you can see now that the icon on the screen has changed from yellow to blue. So that's an indication that I'm in the dynamic as opposed to the static, which was yellow. So I'm going to go and cycle now and then carry on doing the screen record so you can see exactly how the dynamic home point works. Okay, so I'm cycling up the track now. The aircraft's following me. I'm doing the screen record, but obviously because I'm in active track, not the new cycling mode, it is just showing the positioning of the active track. So we're going to have to settle with that, and I'll just show you what actually happens when I go around the corner with the dynamic updates of the home point. Okay, so I've come up the track behind me using the dynamic home point. I wasn't able to record the actual tracking of the screen because I was using the active track modes, and it changed it over to the little diagram on the bottom for repositioning. But you can rest assured it did actually track me all the way up the path. When I stopped, I pressed the return to home button, and then it flew that extra 15 feet to me and then landed directly in front of me. So it did work and it was ideal. So the dynamic home point does do what it's supposed to do. It updates the location of the controller and yourself when you are out walking, hiking, biking, whatever. So you haven't got to worry about, should the worst happen, you know the drone's going to come back to you exactly where you are. As I mentioned earlier, you've also got the option for the optimal return to home. So I'm going to find now a bit more of a tricky environment, and I'm going to show you exactly how that works on the new DJI Mini 5 Pro. Okay, so I've changed my location and I'm in a bit more of a challenging environment. So the plan I've got is I'm going to fly the drone along this path, which has got trees over the top, around the corner to a safe point. Then I'm going to rise it up, fly it round a bit, and then initiate the return to home. So hopefully it should come back, come down, and then follow the exact path back to me to where I am now. Fingers crossed. Now this is the first time I am using the optimal return to home, so I am actually going to follow the drone just to make sure that I can stop it in case anything does go wrong. So I'm going to make sure that I'm in optimal. Okay, and that's done. Right, I'm going to take the drone off.
Take off.
Okay, so as you heard, the home point's been updated, so I'm going to follow the drone down now and then do the return to home. Okay, so it's gone round the corner, and now I've got some clear space in front of the drone, so I'm just going to launch it up into the air. Okay, so the drone now has cleared the canopy, so I'm just going to fly it off. Sort of this. Turn it round. And now I'm going to initiate the return. As you can see, it's coming along. I can see the drone in front of me, and it should now start to drop down between the trees. Hopefully. It's gone a bit further over than I would have liked. Okay, it's come down between the trees nicely. I've got some trees in front of me. It's come between those and it's flying back. Let me bring that down.
Landing.
Wow. Well, what can I say? As you saw yourself, it flew out through those trees, went up and flew back. Excellent, straight through the trees with no issue. So that's the optimal return to home. Really, really impressive. Okay, so that's the test done of the optimal return to home. And as you can see, it performed fantastically. I flew it out along the path, took it up through a gap in the canopy and then flew it round, initiated the return to home. It came back, found the initial hole it went through in the canopy, descended down towards the path and then flew back and landed directly back on the landing mat. Outstanding. I can't say how pleased I am with it. Okay, so you now know how the return to home works both in the preset and in the optimal. If you did find it useful, please do the like and subscribe thing and the notification bell. There's a lot of other videos on my channel in relation to waypoints, master shots, drone moves, hyperlapses, things like that, all around the Mini 5. I've also got videos on there for the Neo, the Mini 4 Pro, as well as the Hover X1 Pro and Pro Max. If you could watch those videos as well, you may get something out of that. That would be fantastic. Anything you want to see or any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you again next time. Thanks very much. Bye.